So I'm going to touch on this fast, and I'm going to try to be calm. Okay, I'm going to keep it together. I'm going to do this. You can turn off chat too, because I don't. Thank you. I don't need people arguing in the comments. Okay. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to try to express myself calmly. So, when talking about this conflict between Israel and Gaza, Palestinians, because I mean they bombed the West Bank too, so it's kind of everywhere now. But when talking about this, I've noticed a strange phenomenon, and I want to explain to you what I see so that you can hopefully emphasize with what I'm trying to convey when I talk about things that happened in this conflict. So when the massacre happened on October 7th, and terrorists came into, Israel and slaughtered 1,300 people. Horrible. There was a lot of people, though, that were cheering on Hamas explicitly. A lot were doing it explicitly, just saying like, hey, this is what a revolution looks like. And there was a lot of people who said, as the bodies were, still being counted, Israel hadn't done anything in response. It was the same day. I mean, they were still cleaning up the massacre. And people were saying, as the news broke, people don't want to hear about timing, but I'm just telling you my perspective. As the news broke, before expressing condolences or horror, it was free Palestine. Now, I'm free Palestine. You can say free Palestine. But the timing to me made me uncomfortable. It seemed like they were cheering on Hamas. So when I try to convey that, there's so many people that go, oh, come on. Saying free Palestine as terrorists are in kibbutz killing people, that's not cheering on Hamas. That's just, us. We just really rooting for Palestine. The timing doesn't matter. I say, okay, fine. I'm not going to argue that anymore. But when the bombs start dropping, right, when Israel does retaliate a few days later, or I don't know if it might even be the next day, I don't remember the timeline. Then all of a sudden, it's insensitive to talk about it because it doesn't matter. Because Israel's bombing Gaza. Okay. So as the bombing continues, the next thing I start hearing is, the Hamas terrorists who went there, they were just there to take hostages. They didn't kill they weren't there to kill as many people as possible. They didn't rape anyone. They didn't kill kids. They didn't behead anyone. And this became the new thing, where they're trying to, almost like, hey, dude, Hamas isn't that bad. We're exaggerating what they did there. There's, you know what I mean? And so when I see people saying that and I want to respond to it, I say, yeah, actually, Hamas did kill babies. They did rape women. They did decapitate people. They did burn families alive. Okay, you know what? Now's not the time. It's not the time. You're being insensitive to what's happening in Gaza. Now's not the time. I say, okay, now's not the time. Bombs are falling. It's not the time. Then when this hospital gets blown up, and there's a whole day of hysterical coverage of it, people saying upwards of 900 people died. Horrific. The result of which was mass riots around the world and escalation of tensions with neighboring countries. So at the time, it's like, listen, let's wait and see, let's wait and see and let the news come out, because this is all reported by the Palestinian or the Gazan Health Ministry, which, by the way, Gaza Health Ministry is run by Hamas. terrorist organization that killed 1,300 people. So they said, dude, how dare you question it? How dare you? You know Israel bombed it. You scumbag. How dare you? It doesn't even matter if they did. That's the new thing. It doesn't matter because Israel's bombed lots of other hospitals. Israel's bombed 15 or damaged 15 hospitals in the last 10 years. So it doesn't matter that one of the biggest hospitals in Gaza the story was blown up and killed 900 people. Let's wait for the information some reasonable people said. Scumbag, they say. Zionist. Okay, fine. Now's not the time. The next day, when you find out the hospital was undamaged, the explosion was from a stray rocket, okay, that was shot by terrorists in Gaza, specifically the jihadist, the Palestinian jihadist group, something like that. Not Hamas, interestingly, but I guess another terrorist organization. So when it comes out, and please, let's not debate it. It's almost certain at this point that it was a rocket from Gaza that what caused this. So what actually happened is a rocket was misfired or malfunctioned. It fell in the parking lot and it killed 300 people. Approximately, we don't really know. The truth is there was a lot of people who were taking refuge around the hospital because they thought it was a safe place. As well they should be. You know what I mean? They should assume that. But, and unfortunately, this rocket malfunctioned. It was a massive rocket headed to, the heart of Israel. It was full of fuel. And so when the rudder malfunctioned and this rocket full of fuel dropped down into the parking lot, it exploded into a ball of napalm, scorching the parking lot and killing a ton of people tragically. Horrible. And so now when it's like, actually, the Israelis didn't blow up the hospital and kill 900 people. Actually, it was the terrorists there who were shooting a rocket from over a fucking hospital that malfunctioned, and they killed 300 of their own people. It doesn't matter. You can't talk about this because now's not the time. It's not the time to talk about this. How dare you? How dare you for even saying it? Israel has bombed other hospitals. So, like, you know what I mean? Who cares if it was true or not? Who cares? First of all, it does matter. In this specific case, this was reported, the initial reporting of this was one of the most horrific war crimes, acts of terror of all time. Okay? And when it turns out it was actually terrorists that killed their own people, then it doesn't matter. Okay. It doesn't matter when it would cause mass riots. Or how about this? You know what? Now's not the time. Now's not the time to talk about it. Okay, now's not the time to talk about it. And today, the Israeli government released the GoPro footage from these Hamas terrorists who they had a press conference for foreign press all to come watch the clips because so many people are denying what happened at this point. And the stuff that's described there is everything people said and worse. It's beheadings, it's killing babies, murdering children, burning families alive, desecrating corpses, taking photos of, dead civilians, taking their phone and sending it to their family or posting it to their Facebook. And so I go, listen, I want to tell the people who are talking about Hamas like they're freedom fighters and revolutionaries, or that like they were actually were there just to get hostages, and most of them didn't want to hurt civilians. I want to say, hey guys, listen, let's stop saying that because it's not true. You know what I mean? Let's not say that. And I get a huge response from people saying, how can you be so insensitive? You don't care about what's happening in Gaza. Now is not the time. When is the fucking time? When is it the time to address stuff, incredibly harmful misinformation? When is it okay? And the thing is, like, the way people, I'm not denying, I'm not defending the IDF. I'm not at all. I've donated money. I've supported them on this show a lot more than I've spoke about Israel. That's goddamn true for sure. But somehow it's never the time to dispel this really violent, anti-Semitic rhetoric that's causing riots. Synagogue leader over the weekend was stabbed and killed. So it's incredible to me that people think I shouldn't care about these things because now's not the time. I believe that the time is good for all spaces of offering civilians your empathy, your caring, your understanding. I don't believe that, I need to wait for you all to tell me now's the time. And whenever that is, probably never, frankly, probably never. Here's some of the threads that I've been seeing nonstop on my own fucking subreddit. Let's see. Here we go. Let's take a look. This is just sorting by new. It has a lot of upvotes. I don't know the exact number, but people are flocking here. Peace and love. Someone take Ethan's phone away. I got to emphasize just how my stories that I'm showing are so, it's so much not defending the IDF. It's literally just talking about this anti-Semitic, violent misinformation that continues to be peddled and is having real consequences in the world. I'll show you examples, actually, before I get into it. Maybe that will help to tell you guys how I don't think what I'm saying should be controversial. And if you do think what I'm saying is controversial, I do think there's a moment of introspective for yourself. Where's the album, love? I'll show you everything I've been posting over the weekend so that you guys can judge for yourself what kind of Zionistic pig fucking genocidal maniac. People go, he's a genocidal maniac. People go, I cannot support him anymore. Here's the kind of stuff that I've been storing about. Here is a tweet with 100,000 likes, 14 million views. She says, interesting. What's interesting? Jewish people in the high levels of the government. Now, why is this fucking insane? I said we should make them wear little armbands so we can identify them easier. I saw even a lot of people saying, how is this anti-Semitic? Which alone is concerning. First of all Jewish people are not Israeli. All Jewish people do not support the IDF. I'm one of those people, actually, believe it or not. And also, one of the things you often hear people say is like how, Zionism is not the same thing as anti-Semitism. A lot of fucking people who use the word Zionist like a slur will say that. And yet at the same time, they'll like this post that says, actually, being Jewish is the same as being Israeli. So Zionism actually is the same as just being Jewish. Do you see why this is insane? Okay, good. Here's another one. This one, it probably has a lot more at the time, but 21,000 likes, 2 million views. This statement, which has literally no evidence to support it. Meta is shadow banning content that supports Palestine, according to Palestinian accounts from Gaza. And in case anyone was wondering where Facebook, Instagram, Meta stand on the current genocide of Palestine enacted by Israel, I don't know anything about that. This is just one person. But the response was Mark ... Zuckerberg. What do you think the implication is there, guys? That because Mark is Jewish, that he's going to censor and defend Zionism, defend Israel, because he's Jewish. And as you guys know, not all Jews are Zionists, unless, of course, only in memes. In memes, all Jews are Zionists. But when I'm actually being confronted on anti-Semitism, then no. Basically, I'll have it both ways, please. I also said, it would be nice, maybe he should wear a nice little flare around his arm as well. Zuckerberg, So here's what I says. This bombing story's been driving me crazy because I just think it's incredible. People say it doesn't matter when it dominated the news cycle for a whole fucking day. One of the worst war crimes / acts of terrorism of all time. And people say it doesn't matter, or now's not the time. This has been, at this point, and it's more and more every day, the Associated Press. The AP analyzed more than a dozen videos from moments before, after, and during, as well as satellite imagery and photos. Associated Press analysis shows that the rocket that broke up in the air was fired from within Palestinian territory, and the hospital explosion was most likely caused when a part of that rocket crashed to the ground. Okay, that's AP. How about BBC? I don't need to read all these. You can read them all. But they're basically all saying that it was likely, some outright just saying it was. This is Reuters, these are all pretty reputable, I think. Blast at Gaza hospital was not the result of an Israeli missile strike, but likely the cause of a misfiring Palestinian rocket. The French military intelligence said about it. New York Times, who was one of the early offenders who wrote, the really hysterical, headlines about 900 people dying and hospitals being blown up. Israel did not bomb Gaza Strip hospital, said the unclassified intelligence assessment drafted on Wednesday. We judge that Israel was not responsible for an explosion that killed hundreds of civilians yesterday at the Al-Ahli hospital in Gaza Strip. The United States has infrared sensors, which are both satellite and aircraft-based, that can determine the launch sites of a variety of rockets and missiles. That technology has proved critical to the U.S. assessment, which does not place blame for the blast on Israel. Wall Street Journal says, experts say that Israel wasn't responsible for the blast. Analysts say it is unlikely to change the minds of the Arab world, which largely support the Palestinians and are hostile to Israel, whatever that part. CNN, I know it's not that reliable as the other ones I noted, but they also did their own forensic analysis and said that the rocket came from Gaza and not an airstrike. Politico said the same thing. NPR said the same thing. And, it disturbs me that so many people ran with this headline. From these sources, citing them. And now when these same sources are saying, actually, it probably wasn't Israel. It was almost certainly a rocket from Gaza. Then all of a sudden, we don't care. It's not the time to talk about it. It doesn't matter. We don't care. It's not credible. They're not credible, really. So people who ran with the headline that Israel airstrike the hospital cited these exact publications. Now that they've put the blame on Islamic Jihad, these same sources are not credible. Why does it matter when the IDF has already confirmed killed thousands of Palestinians? Again, because I anticipated it, and people don't read what I write. And I'm here saying, yeah, the IDF has killed thousands of Palestinians. Horrific. The bombing marked an enormous escalation of the war and risk bringing Hezbollah and others. The outrage caused by this was felt globally, and rightfully so. However, truth matters, and we must bear in mind that while the IDF is not a reputable source for news, either is Hamas. Once again, who reported these mass casualties and the hospital being exploded? Health Ministry of Gaza, run by Hamas. And that is a fact. You can look it up. Health Ministry of Gaza is run by Hamas. And just to be real, when you see the press conference at the disaster that happened at the hospital, you can see, the doctors there. They're talking about how horrible it was. And right off the fucking screen, there's photos of a Hamas dude with a gun, just making sure everyone's staying in line. You have to understand that Hamas and Israel are both going to be participating in bad faith propaganda. If you don't understand that, and if you believe everything Hamas says, then I don't believe that you are the one that's being objective, actually. I think you're being deluded. Then I apologize. I'm sorry that I care about Israel and Jewish people. People go, you're biased. No fucking shit, I'm biased. I lived there for 5 years. My wife's Israeli, my kids, my wife's entire family. Of course I have a bias. Nearly everyone I love is affected by this. If you're incapable of understanding that, if this post enrages you, then I'm afraid you are nothing more than an unwitting conduit of Hamas propaganda, an organization whose stated goal is to kill me and my family. Now, maybe that was a little inflammatory to say that if you're angry about these posts that you are a conduit of Hamas propaganda, but technically it is true. If you were saying that the IDF blew up that hospital and killed 900 people, and then now that it's basically been revealed that that's not what happened. If you are A, unwilling to acknowledge that it was terrorists, or B, saying that it doesn't matter, let's move on, you are doing Hamas propaganda. Maybe you're okay with that. I don't know. But it's just a fact. And if you ask me why I'm not critical of Israel, which everybody's saying, why I'm not critical of the Israeli government, then you haven't been watching. Go watch the first 2.5 hours of our Leftovers episode. If you think that, I don't know how to help you. I don't know what to say to you. So I don't know what exactly I've said to warrant this insane response of people saying that I can't support you anymore. They says, I can't support you anymore because you care about dispelling really harmful and eventually anti-Semitic propaganda. Again, I'm not even defending the IDF at all. That's the crazy part. Channel 4 and Al Jazeera did, in my opinion, really silly videos trying to blame the explosion on the IDF. Neither of them relied on analysis of impartial, qualified military demolition experts. All the articles above cited do. People that is their expertise. You know what I mean? Impartial expertise. Further, disapproving Israel's propaganda claim is not the same as proving Israel caused the explosion, which I think is something a lot of people misunderstood. You might see something that the IDF posted and say like, oh, they removed the tweets, so they're lying. Well, the data that was used from third-party video, satellite footage, geolocating, etc., none of that information came from the IDF. It's all public, sourced. And here's some of the comments I got in response to what I was saying. And yet he was running with the same propaganda that Hamas was beheading babies, canceling my membership. This is really disappointing. I said, does it make you feel better knowing that they were sprayed with AK-47s instead? As if that's a more humane way to kill a baby. The videos are out. Again, Israel just did a press conference putting out the GoPro videos because they had to, because people are not fucking they're shitting on these civilians who were murdered and saying now's not the time to care about them. Hamas was they were actually being pretty okay down there. Again, just go see what international reporters are saying. Babies burned alive, babies murdered, corpses beheaded, women raped, people burned alive, little girl, one of the videos, it's a fucking little girl under a table by herself hiding. 2 terrorists walk in, talk for a moment, and shoot her. They fucking kill her. But now's not the time. When people are saying that didn't happen, they're saying that's a lie. That didn't even happen. There's a video of that if you want to go watch that. All right. I don't want to get emotional. Give me a sec. People are saying this didn't happen. That to me is important. And I think that now is the time to talk about this and everything. And if you feel like I'm overemphasizing the Israeli part, listen, everyone in my periphery, everyone in my circle, all the leftist people that I watch, that I'm part of, that watch this show, because I consider myself a part of that side, are all pretty much uncritically accepting of Hamas propaganda and unfucking caring about the rewriting of history right before our fucking eyes about this stuff. So I'm not seeing a lot of people, even though you might look at the popular media and say, you know, everybody's supporting Israel. The popular media's defense of Israel is cartoonishly dumb and evil. They go, you know, burn them all to the ground. They have a right to defend themselves. Bomb God, like psycho shit, okay? But on the left, I don't see anyone saying what I'm saying right now. I just see the opposite. And so that's why I feel that I need to say it. If you're going to extrapolate from this that I don't care about Palestinians dying, then you're definitely reading way too fucking far into this. And you're also, in my opinion, really callous. Here you go. This is before the videos were released. This was... I didn't even notice it. Did I get it? I don't think. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. There was like a charred body there that I didn't even think about. Oh, thank God. There was a chart. So let me just scroll down and I'll just read the top. I was saying this was been known since before all these GoPro videos were released today by the IDF. But this organization, or here, just go ahead and read it for me, Dana. Can you erase that picture, love? Just read. Okay, yeah, so I'm just going to read. Forensic pathologists and other experts from Israel and abroad work at the National Forensic Pathology Center in Tel Aviv to identify the victims of October 7th. Here's what they found. And again, this is even before the GoPros, when people are saying this stuff didn't happen. Proportions of bodies received to our chart is high. Many have gunshot wounds in their hands, showing they put up their hands to their face in defense. Many were burned alive in their homes. We know they were burned alive because they're set in their throats, meaning they were still breathing when set on fire. She also explains that the age of victims ranged from 3 months to 80 or 90 years old. Many bodies, including those of babies, are without heads. Asked if they were decapitated, Kugel, the doctor, answered yes, although he admits that given the circumstance, it's hard to tell if they were decapitated before or after death, as well as how they were beheaded, if it was from cutting or blowing it fucking off with a RPG. So there's people who are really obsessed over this 40 baby thing. There's babies without their fucking heads. But if it makes you feel better that they were just shot with AK-47s and exploded their little fucking bodies, then I guess that I'm happy for you if that makes you feel better. Wait, what the fuck, AB? What the fuck? Did you show that? Oh, I thought you said you removed it. Oh, shit. Okay, my bad. So everything else after this is fine, right? Okay, cool. Thanks. Here's another comment. And this is a response to everything I've shown you guys up to now. What is upsetting to me is he completely ignoring most people didn't get the idea that the hospital was bombed by Hamas, but from the hospital itself. To frame believing the victims, the doctors, first responders, is the same as believing Hamas propaganda is just inaccurate. I think what bothers people so much is that he digs his heels in to dispute any possible misinformation against Israel, but he doesn't do any fact-checking before repeating anti-Palestinian misinformation. It's frustrating. Misinformation against Palestine is infinitely more harmful. So I'm going to just say that this person's ignorant. And, I think a lot of people are all too happy to not look too deep into these things. But again, Gaza Health Ministry is Hamas. So your comment is just ignorant. I don't know what else to tell you. You just don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Moving on. Here, by the way, I was sharing another one. The Canadian government put out an independent analysis. We are deeply saddened by the loss of life at the hospital. In order to determine what happened, the Prime Minister asked me to make a task force with preparing an independent analysis. Today, I'm releasing his finding. Analysis conducted independently by the Canadian Forces Intelligence Command indicates with a high degree of confidence that Israel did not strike the hospital. The most likely scenario is that the strike was caused by an errant rocket fired from Gaza. If you need more, so far the only evidence that it was Israel is that Channel 4 put out a video analyzing the phone call, saying that it was manipulated, and then Al Jazeera saying, I don't even remember what they said, but it was all pretty silly, in my opinion. So there was a few erased tweets by people in the government, and that's proof that it was Israel, I guess. Dude, all right, I'm going to refresh. Hold on. It's gone, right? I just showed it again, so I just refreshed the fucking document. Yeah. I think it's gone. Sorry, I buttoned out again because I showed that fucking charred body. Blah, blah, blah. Where was I? I don't know how much got cut off. Okay, is it? It's after this one. No, it's gone. Okay, good. So, yeah, this person said that I'm spreading genocidal rhetoric. I've had it with him. I'm spreading genocidal rhetoric. Which part of this? Which part of this? Okay. I shared this video, which was really sad and horrific. I don't know if the video's here, because it does matter to me. I saw this on TikTok. Actually, let's show it. I mean, let's pull it. It shows a before and after of their neighborhood in Gaza. It's horrific. It's so sad. So horrible. How indiscriminate, how fucking little the IDF cares about casualties. You know. Here is an Israeli person who left a message that they're disgusted by my support of the Palestinians. They says, here's an Israeli who no longer supports because I donated $6,500 to Palestinian charity. Guess I better choose a side. Here's the translation. Dear friends, you're all wonderful, but Ethan is simply profoundly ignorant. As an American who moved here after years of experiencing anti-Semitism is currently serving the IDF, I can no longer tolerate Ethan's views without delving deep into the matter and seeking the truth. After 5 years, I no longer follow them. The money I pay him every month goes to support Palestine, which will inevitably arrive and fund Hamas. Meanwhile, I am hurting and have lost 3 friends and another one who was abducted with her entire family. No one to this day knows what happened to them. I'm so sorry for your loss. I think it matters. I actually do. And I think now is a perfect time to acknowledge that. And I'm very sorry that happened to you. But I'm standing by my convictions regardless of who is going to piss off. That's part of the problem I'm having right now. Here's the video that I shared. Is this, it has this really beautiful song. But I don't know if, so I'll just mute it. Yeah. So here, beautiful neighborhood, actually. It looks really nice. And, this is just fucked. It's crazy. you know. So I understand people seeing these images. I mean, it's horrific. It's just fucking horrific. Horrible. Senseless. Sad. Tragic. This is the stuff I started posting this morning that I guess caused a new flurry of people to get so angry at me. They said, take Ethan's phone away, they said. Now, I really want you to listen. This is the stuff I shared that really pissed people off. I said, please, at least stop calling Hamas freedom fighters. I don't think that's asking for a lot. Although I understand now is not the time. This guy said, I saw indescribable raw footage of Hamas massacre along with 100 other international journalists. Here's what I saw. Hamas terrorists screaming Allah Akbar as he frantically beheaded a dead man with a shovel. It's reported by other journalists that he was alive at the time. But doesn't really matter, does it? Two sons are screaming for their dad, saying they're going to die. A Hamas terrorist casually and calmly takes a bottle of water from the family's fridge and drinks it as the two boys weep. Hamas terrorists enter a house where a small girl is seen hiding under the table. After some talking back and forth, they shoot and kill her as she hides under the table. It's hard to say how old she is. She's 7 and 9 years old. Hamas terrorists setting fire to a house in a kibbutz. A beheaded Israeli soldier, photo of a dead baby, and a child burned beyond recognition. Scores of dead people on the road after Hamas executed them in their cars, yelling Allah Akbar. Hamas terrorists calling his parents, I killed 10 Jews with my own hands. I'm using the dead Jewish woman's phone to call you now. The mother says, may God protect you. So many more scenes, but I hope you get the gist. The authorities asked not to film it out of respect for the relatives. There's other reporters with other really horrific accounts. Too much to share and too horrific, frankly, to continue to read. Is now not the time? I genuinely wonder. Now is not the time to care that people are saying this didn't happen? Am I not allowed to care about this? I'm only allowed to care about Palestinian civilian deaths. Not allowed to care about these people. That's what you're saying, I think. You know. I got fucking mad. I said, look how fucking dumb you look, Hamas apologists. And I quoted specifically the one of the little girl that was murdered while hiding. Here's another one. Oh, no, this is the same one. This is a story that's been running, and I says, listen, there was a massive round of bombing last night, apparently, in northern Gaza. And at least BBC, and this is a breaking headline, they're at least now, after the last time, at least, giving important context that Hamas-run ministry says 436 people were killed. I'm not even disputing those numbers because by all accounts, there was mass bombing there that was horrific and fucking terrifying and just wanton disregard for civilian life. He said, I mourn the constant tragic loss of life in Gaza. There has been so much civilian death. It's heartbreaking. This is another reporter who was there. Images are put up of the burned babies, so small you could cradle them in the crook of your arm. A journalist who is also a parent tells me the blanket was a swaddle. It's given to babies who are either newborn or close to it. There are many broader issues around occupation and the need for humanitarian assistance and proportionality. Israel must do everything to protect civilians of Gaza. But what I saw today has nothing to do with resistance. It was all about wanting to kill Jews. If you don't believe me, go watch the videos. So this is it. This is what I said. This is what I posted today. Now look at the reactions I'm getting. And I guess maybe I'm fucking crazy. Maybe I am genocidal against Palestinians for caring about this stuff. I must be. Here's this. This is the post that's getting lots of likes. I'm going to be calm. Here, let me go to the page because here you can see the amount of likes it's getting. Here it is. Oh, can you see the likes? It doesn't show. Here, I can show on my phone. Or, actually, I can't tell if it was. It says 220. I guess it got a lot of downvotes now since I'm covering it on the show, but I think a lot of these people are brigading from other communities too, probably. Including, by the way, Hassan's Discord, which is not associated with him. He's not in there. He has nothing to do with it. But the people in there, oh, it's at 550 upvotes. Okay, great. So 500. So there's lots of people coming here saying that I shouldn't be talking about this, and I'll read it. Hassan's Discord, and by the way, to the people who are in that Discord, I saw everything you guys said. It was recorded, sent to me during our whole episode on the Gaza-Israel conflict. What I saw in that Discord was near universal praise for Hamas, near universal saying people deserved it, near universal people saying dudes who was like, the hang gliders came in and showed him what's up. People saying he's spitting facts. Near universal. People near universally calling me a Zionist pig, fucking mass murdering, genocidal freak. And if you want to know the truth, that shit fucked me up seeing that Discord. Because it made me realize that a lot of these people are watching this show, and it frankly disturbed me. And I want to make it clear, Hassan doesn't support that stuff. I had a private conversation with him, and I told him, like, this stuff is really upsetting to see. And Hassan sat down with his mods, and he sat down with his team and said, this stuff's not acceptable. So again, it's important to emphasize he is not responsible for this. But I will say that seeing that, oh, and here, just again to just speak well of my friend, he posted this same post I did and says it's straight up anti-Semitic, which it obviously is. So the reason that I canceled the show on Friday, frankly, is because I read that Discord, and it was, I don't know what's the word, but frankly, it was, I don't know what's the word. I mean, I was horrified. I felt used in a sense that these people were watching this and like, they didn't actually care at all. They saw me as like a vessel to spread what they believe is true. They don't care about what I'm saying at all. They're not listening. In fact, they fucking hate me. They hate me. It was, I couldn't do the show on Friday. I was so upset by it. I don't even know how to express it. I don't know how to express it. I guess you just have to go read it. But I was like, man, this is pretty heavy, man. And so that hit me hard, as hard as anything. And I was really fucked up from that. And so I do think a lot of these people are brigading from these types of communities. But I do think there's a lot of people in this community because, listen, I've been doing a leftist show for over a year now. I have leftist politics. I follow leftist shows. I do think there's a lot of people in this community who feel that now is the time, never. These people, right? I've expressed myself. I don't need to repeat, but these kinds of people. So let me read this. Peace and love. Someone take Ethan's phone away. 550 people came and liked this post. The Israeli citizens who died or were injured in October 7th attacks deserve empathy, of course. But Ethan posting an entire thread of horrible things that happened to them, followed by a post that basically says, and what's happening in Gaza is also horrible. Talking about war crimes and a literal ethnic cleansing is just so tone deaf, they said. So they says, the Israelis deserve empathy, of course, but just not right now. Not right now, they don't. Now's not the time. It doesn't matter that there's tons of people lying and saying it never happened. People saying that Hamas is actually, they're actually nicer than you would think. They're actually not that bad. Despite all that, Now is not the time to express empathy for 1,300 slain civilians. We don't, now's not the time. I also find it interesting. They says, they go, and what's happening in Gaza is also horrible. Like, if I don't say anything, then they say he didn't post anything about Gaza. If I do fucking say anything, then it's like he didn't say enough. Now is not the damn time to talk about slain Israeli citizens whose deaths are being forgotten and minimized. I understand Ethan feels more connected to Israel because he lived there, but I think he should take a step back and really think he needs to take a step back and think about how he'd view what's going on if he had no ties to Israel. Honestly, I don't even think he'd be this defensive if it were America doing the same thing as Israel. What am I defensive about exactly? People lying that Hamas fucking killed babies and kids in cold blood, beheaded, burned alive? Yes, I get defensive when people say that didn't happen. Is that a problem? Do I get defensive when people say that Israel is doing wanton massacre of Palestinian civilians? No, I do not get defensive about that. In fact, I agree with that. I've said it a lot. In no uncertain terms, I've said it. So much so that you've seen Israeli fans now are turning against me. So you say, I wouldn't care if I wasn't. I'd like to believe that I would care. I'd like to believe that I would care. And I think that people who don't live in Israel should care as well. You said at the beginning of this that they deserve empathy, but at the same time you say not now, and also stop getting defensive about them. I don't think Ethan is apathetic to Palestinian suffering, but I feel like he really cannot see this clearly and objectively. Again, speaking up for the dead Palestinian or the dead Israeli civilians somehow in so many people's minds is equated to defending the IDF, which is insanely fucking crazy. You say, speaking up for the slain civilians is the same as supporting the IDF. That's insane. I mean, that's fucked up. You should really think about that. Think about that. Seems like he traded in Twitter for Instagram stories. That's the top comment. That's fair enough. Also, by the way, I'll read the last one. She says, Ethan, if you see this, I'm a fan. I know you're not trying to be cruel. I just think you should take a step back. Please don't post this to your story. Oh, well, you posted this. This thread is getting a lot of traction. So, but they said this isn't a hate post, just food for thought. Okay. I mean, listen, I appreciate that they didn't come out so hot, although can't say it. He's clearly hurting bad right now, but he needs to get off the internet. It's affecting him. Okay. This is about, I posted about Shredder. It's just not good. Get offline. So, I mean, who's saying this to people that care about, who are just, are you saying this to Hassan? Are you telling him to get off the internet? Because he's, hey, you're obsessing, dude. It's time to get off the internet. I don't think you guys understand what it means to look at the mass murder of Jews and say it didn't happen. To say it was exaggerated. I'm ready to skip the live if he goes into another hour-long unchallenged rant. I have no problem hearing his opinions as much as I'm disagreeing with a lot of the nuance, but the place for that is leftovers with someone else giving additional options. His rants during the other eps end up being screaming at chat and the crew just sitting in silence. Fair enough, I guess. Ethan is someone who needs an incredible amount of validation in his opinion to feel like it's solid. This is an incredibly nuanced discussion, and he will never get the total validation he's looking for. That's why he won't stop talking about it. Literally, all I've ever done since the beginning of this is advocate for civilians. That's it. The disagreements I had with Hassan in our original one was literally just trying to get some fucking crumb of empathy. And that's the same as wanting to kill every Palestinian. How is that possible? How can so many people be drawing that conclusion? He gets all of his info from Twitter, which is not great. I don't know what that even means. I've been reading nonstop articles. I literally posted headlines to every major news article. I'm skipping H3 for a while. That's fine. Understand. But essentially, there's been you know what? I'll be honest. A lot of people in this thread aren't being super nasty. And it's fine. I think it's totally fine for them to share their opinions on it. However, I will say that there are certain assumptions being made here that are really so unfair that I need to get off because I'm being emotional, or that I need to not now. Not now is not the time. As almost 3 years as a member, I've canceled my membership for now. I think I'll come back eventually, but it feels like he's just trying to dunk on anyone who doesn't agree with him 100%. People are dead, families are destroyed, and Ethan is bragging about being right. I'll stay sub for now. Okay, I appreciate that. I can't keep paying to see him post so callously. How is it callous? How is it callous? How is it callous what I posted? I really... Advocating for dead civilians, for truth, is callous. I don't need to keep reading, but whatever. You know, there's another one that was getting lots of points. Ethan, please understand Ethan's bias towards Israel, but to use your platform over and over again to promote the same narrative that most mainstream media have been promoting since this started, I just don't understand. I think Ethan should step away from the topic for a while and really reflect about how he's gone about this. Mods will remove this post. They keep removing it. It's not cool. Stop censoring us. You know, I'm trying to be calm, and I'm coming out here, and I'm expressing myself as honestly and sincerely as I possibly can. If these posts enraged you, I hope I've explained it in such a way that you can at least maybe understand why you might be coming off as callous, why you might be coming off as uncaring, and how that is upsetting me when I see that. Because, like, listen, everybody wants their side to be perfect villains or perfect monsters. That's what I get out of this. That's really what I get out of this. You know. People say I'm silencing you guys, so I don't know if anyone wants to say anything. All right.
Let me speak!
I feel like it's a conversation that's better for someone like you and Hassan to have together. I don't know if I'm properly equipped to give my side in the correct way.
Can I advocate for you for a minute?
Mm-hmm.
The people who are saying AB needs to respond, AB needs to speak up, fuck you guys. I'm not going to say. I'll say it. You don't have to say anything. And I'm not speaking for AB. This is my opinion. Who the fuck are you to demand him to talk about something?
I appreciate that.
Let him fucking process it and feel what he wants without your expectations and fucking coming down on him from all different angles. How dare you? Oh, here's my favorite one, actually. Excuse me, medium beef jerky. I don't know what this means, but apparently Israel state-funded ads on the podcast. I don't know what this even means. This explains why certain channels can monetize videos on sensitive topics while others get demonetized. YouTubers do not have direct control over which ads are shown on their videos. Advertisers determine where the ads are placed and what kind of channels they advertise on. YouTubers can block specific ads, but do not have the freedom to select ads. Israel state-funded ads on the podcast. Has anyone ever seen an Israel ad on the podcast? Is this a
blocker?
Is this anti-Semitic or no?
I mean, I think it's just stupid. A lot of stuff goes to. I mean, a lot of funding goes to Israel. You know, and a lot of shady bond investments, whether it be a university or what you buy every day. So.
Wait, they're trying to defend me? How do you read that? Which one?
This post, I think.
Wait, how? I don't understand it.
Because there was some other post where somebody said they got an Israeli ad on the podcast about the war.
Oh, okay.
And they were pointing out that you have no control over that.
Got it. Someone said, I knew right after this there would be another thread. So wait, I didn't see that one.
I because of that comment, I went looking for it. It didn't even have any upvotes. It was somebody saying they got an ad from Israeli.
Now's the perfect time to visit, guys. Fly to beautiful Israel.
I don't think it was a tourist ad.
I saw there was like a video.
Oh shit, I did see one that was so crazy and weird.
I remember that.
I don't think it's ever run on our channel, guys.
I think there was a post from last week or 2 weeks ago that I'll try to find it.
I don't have the ability to turn those off, but I saw that and it was fucking crazy.
Yeah, it was like, this could be your kid.
You should pull it up. I'm actually curious to watch it. It was
right.
so
I
weird.
remember what it was. It was like, your kid won't understand this, but Yeah, it was really brutal. It's very weird.
It's just like, dude, what are you doing? This is not going to help at all. And so, this is my perspective. This is the pain that I'm experiencing. So many of my contemporaries, people on the left, fans of this show, I feel are callously saying now is not the time, and also accusing me of being genocidal, insensitive, for speaking about something that's important to me. And I hope I've explained to you guys and why I think it is important. And how this whole thing is just so unfair. I'm sorry. It's so unfair. And I'm not getting angry. That's just my fucking opinion. That's all I can do. I'm not going to stop talking about it. Why should I? All I'm saying is that Israeli civilians died. If that offends you, then you might be lost. You might be lost. Did you find it?
I doubt we'll find it. It was a while
The
ago.
ad, I Googled around a little bit, but I have not seen it.
Remember there was a rainbow in it or some shit?
Yeah. It's very weird.
Oh, wait. I think I found it.
Yeah, that was it.
Is this
Yeah.
real? Here, is this the one?
Oh,
you're talking
nice. Dude, this is so, the way they did it all, like, it's so fucked up. Hold on. So this was run as an ad for sure?
I don't know if it was this video, but
The Reddit post I saw was alleging that this ran as an ad.
I believe it.
Oh, I've seen this as an ad. Yes, this is the same thing.
So hold on, let me read it for audio listeners. It's a picture of like a rainbow and beautiful, almost like heavenly My Little Pony vibes. We know that your child cannot read this. We have an important message to tell you as parents. 40 infants were murdered in Israel
Jesus Christ.
by the Hamas terrorists.
Jesus
ISIS.
fucking
Hamas
Christ.
terrorists, ISIS?
Yeah, I don't know where.
That's
yeah.
not.
Just as you would do everything for your child, we will do everything to protect ours. Now, hug your baby and stand with us. Now, I'll say this is fucking crazy.
What are they
because
doing?
protecting your children, indiscriminate bombing of Gaza has nothing to do with protecting your kids. In fact, I think there's a good argument to say it makes them less safe. In fact. I don't know what else I can say about it. I mean, if at this point, if you don't understand my perspective, then I don't know if there's never going to be a bridge between us on this topic. And if that's too much for you, then I invite you to go listen to other shows that will echo your beliefs 100%, and you won't ever have to feel uncomfortable again. Truly. That's it. You can turn chat back on.
Okay.
I don't ever come in here planning to do this, by the way. It's just, these are things I have to say. I have to say it.